All right. First, I would like to give all praises, glory, and honor to the Most High Father, to our God, to our power, Yahweh, and our big brother, Yahweh Shai, who has promised by covenant to lead us and protect us and guide us back to the Father. I also want to thank our mother, who is wisdom, who has been made to rest in the house of Israel. She's the one that guides us and speaks to us. I'm grateful for these spirits that the Father has given to us to lead us back home. All glory, honor, and praises to the Most High God of Israel. Welcome back, kindred. It's been a while. I've been blessed to do some studying. I've been blessed to be moved to do some reading on some texts that have been unsealed for the end times. So it's been a while. But I want to start today. I want to start up again today with Juneteenth. As you can see, they made it a national holiday, right? But the first thing our people should be asking themselves before they jump right into celebration is, why would our enemy give us a national holiday? I don't think this is the first national holiday that actually truly belongs to us. Think about this. I know some people may say, well, what about Martin Luther King Day? Well, Martin Luther King Day doesn't belong to us. Well, what about Black History Month? They gave us a whole month. No, they didn't. Black History Month has nothing to do with us. They keep wanting you to celebrate Africa. And the same thing with this Juneteenth thing. So let's take a deeper look at this. This isn't going to be a long lesson. So let's get into it. All right, Juneteenth. It's a really weird name to begin with. But Juneteenth is a federal holiday in the United States. It's funny how they talk about it like it's always been a federal holiday, right? Didn't that man just sign this thing into law? Anyway, Juneteenth is a federal holiday in the United States commemorating the emancipation of enslaved African Americans. Two problems with that first sentence. The word emancipation is problem number one. The second problem is that we are not Africans. That's what they want you to believe, is that you're an African. And we talked about this in other lessons. Other brothers have brought this up. We have already laid out the facts, the history, what do you call it? Like what do they call it? The archaeological evidence, the written evidence, okay? We have already come to the conclusion that we are not Africans. And let's just say we were Africans. Can anyone answer me the question that if we were truly Africans, why will not the Africans that are in Africa claim us? Not one country in Africa claims us as their people. Not one. You can do your own research on that. No one is going to claim us. Okay? Because they know that African, quote unquote, African Americans are not their brethren. They're not their sisters and brothers. They're not their kindred or their relatives. We are not related to them in the way that we would say, this is my brother, this is my sister. We are from the same tribes. We are from the same nation. All right? We're not the same people. Now, this word emancipation. Let's take a look at the word emancipation. All right. The word emancipation. Now, from the 1630s, it says a setting free. Not to set free, but a setting free. As in a setting free of sorts. You see? A setting free. Not to set free. There's a difference. And for my sisters and brothers out there, or to the Gentile nations, the other nations that are Gentiles, for those who are out there that have a studied interest in English, or the etymology of words, or the building of sentences, then you know that statement, quote, a setting free, does not mean the same thing as to set free. Okay? Okay, let's look up emancipate. Set free from control. Back, we are still in the 1620s, so we got to go before that, because we know that during this time, they were already looking to put our people into servitude. Ex-mancipari, deliver, transfer. You see that? Transfer. Transfer ownership. You see? Now that's where they hit it, way down there. Let's look at this right here. And again, we're not going to take too long on this, but I want to be clear about what we're looking at. All right? So the truth of the matter is that we were not freed. Okay? Oh, yeah, we were freed. We were freed from slavery. Are you sure? If we were freed from slavery, how is it that we don't have the same freedoms as other men that are walking in this country, or any other race of people that come into the country with freedoms? We don't have the same freedoms. If we were actually free, why do we need a pass, a hall pass, to leave the country and come back in? You see? Because we're not free. But look at this. To deliver, transfer, or sell. The truth of the matter is that Juneteenth doesn't celebrate the setting free of our people. It's not even close to that. But the point is that we were actually transferred from the ownerships of the people of the South, from our enemies of the South, our slave masters, and we were transferred and put under the authority of corporations. That's right. They transferred our ownership from the hands of individual proprietors into the hands of corporate proprietors. So we are owned by people like banks or the Vatican, literally. Your birth certificate is a certificate of ownership under Roman law. That's another story, but that's what we're getting into. Now you can do your own research into that to get deeper into that, but that's the truth behind the matter. All right, so let's look at this. Juneteenth. Juneteenth, a federal holiday in the United States commemorating the emancipation of enslaved African Americans. We aren't African and we aren't American. It is also often observed for celebrating African American culture. Originating in Galveston, Texas, it has been celebrated annually on June 19th in various parts of the United States since 1865. Now, ask yourself, If it has been celebrated by our people since 1865, why did it take until June 19th, 2021 to actually make it a federal holiday? Of all times, when the country is in a downward tailspin into the spiral of death. Why? I can tell you why. Because this is the time where our people are starting to wake up and go back to the Father in the ways of the commandments of the Most High, as it was prophesied to. The truth of the matter is that these people aren't giving us anything. This is the distraction, because they realize that they're losing money on every angle. And we all know that so-called black folks, African Americans, are the people that spend the most money all the time, every time. Okay? Everyone knows this. And when we start to move back to the commandments of the Most High, what ends up happening is we cease to celebrate the holidays of our heathen overlords. And they notice this. We're no longer celebrating Christmas. We're no longer celebrating Halloween. We're no longer celebrating Thanksgiving. We're no longer celebrating the day of Ishtar, which is Easter. We're no longer celebrating the what is it? January 1st, New Year's, which is the day of Janus, their god. Or, as far as slavery is concerned, it is a day of mourning and weeping, because that is the day that they separate our families. They rent our people out to other slave masters. This is why we don't celebrate these days. Once you realize that every holiday that they gave you was a day to celebrate your destruction, and it really is not meant for you, it's meant for them to celebrate. But they just watch and laugh at you because you don't realize you're celebrating a day when they massacred your people or destroyed your people. And they commemorate it every year by thanking their God for allowing them to have the victory over you and destroy you in the most brutal and unscrupulous and inhumane ways. But you celebrate these things, not knowing any better. Okay? Now, look at this. Let's look at this story right here. NAACP slams IKEA Juneteenth watermelon menu apology as empty. Well, they're just showing you that they have no love for you. These people don't love you. Let's see what this is. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Hold on. Okay. An attempt to honor Juneteenth has backfired spectacularly for one Georgia IKEA. You see? Even on a day that has been celebrated or has been quote unquote given to you as a national holiday, the nation is still at a point where they hate your fucking guts. Pardon my Russian. But these people hate you so much that they can't even let one day slip by where you can enjoy something in your happiness, albeit a Pyrrhic victory, where you can try to enjoy something. They still have to crap all over it just to make sure you understand that you are still a no good, lowly nigga. In an email obtained by TMZ, an Atlanta branch of the Scandinavian furniture chain told employees to look out for a special menu, quote unquote, look out for a special menu that would include fried chicken and watermelon. Now we know what that's all about. First of all, they act like they don't eat fried chicken and watermelon. But we know that, well, let's see what they say in the next quote. These items have historically been used to demean African Americans through stereotyping. So they're still keeping up the stereotype. Now, if you think that they didn't do this and they laughed and giggled and rolled on the floor, LOL, right? DFL, right? Amongst their own kindred, laughing at you because you think that you actually got something good. This holiday was to mock you and laugh at you and scorn you. Why do you think they did this? This wasn't no slip. Do you think that somebody actually put this information out and it wasn't checked, double checked, and checked by everyone in the upper chain? Do you think it just slipped out by accident? No. They all were Confederate and they all agreed to let this out. And they knew they would get backlash for it. But it would already be out. The cat would be out of the bag. The joke would be out. And they would actually rally their heathen brethren and kindred against you to all laugh at you and mock you. It would be out by then. And then what you gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna take a day off to let them know I'm angry at what they did. They don't give a shit because they know you're gonna be right back tomorrow. And they're gonna still laugh at you. After 33 employees called out of work in protest, a revised menu was released. See, there you go. So they're protesting. Okay, so joke's over, everyone. Let's go ahead and let's shut it down. All right. We had our public laughter. So now you have to go back behind closed doors and laugh amongst yourselves now. We can't laugh in their faces anymore, okay? Let's revise the menu. Come on, Bob. Get on the job. Now look at this guy's face. I want you to look at his face, okay? It's not as if he's happy to do this because he has an ulterior motive behind this. What's the quote? Juneteenth, which marks the emancipation. We talked about that word emancipation. It's just a transfer. You've been transferred from one slave owner to another slave owner. That's all it is. Juneteenth, which marks the emancipation of the very last enslaved Americans, was made a federal holiday by President Biden on June 18th. This is a joke. Look at his face. This is a damn joke. This is a joke. He knows it's a joke. They're all in on the joke, and the only people that don't know it's a joke is us, our people, our kindred. Look at this. IKEA's apology for its controversial Juneteenth themed lunch menu is leaving a bad taste in the mouths of Georgia's black community leaders. An Atlanta branch of the Swedish big box store is under fire for this week for what employees denounced as a highly offensive, quote, special menu, end quote, curated to celebrate the June 19th holiday, which marks the emancipation of the last enslaved Americans. They are mocking you, as they always have. The Most High told you that these people would not love you. The Most High already said that he would hand you over to your enemies, and your enemies hate you. They will never love you. They can't. It's impossible for them to love you. This is why they do stuff like this. If they loved you... Look, okay, so when was this? What is it? Today is 2021. It has been 157 years. 157 years where this day has not been recognized as the day when they actually tricked Even though President Lincoln signed the emancipated the slaves from the hands of slave owners, said it was illegal for you to own slaves, they were still citizens of this union that decided that they were not going to emancipate their slaves, that you could not make them get rid of their property to free their property. That's why Juneteenth exists. Okay? Because these people had no idea that they were freed. Because their masters, their slave owner masters, did not tell them that they were free. That's why it's like this. Look at this. Quote, "We got it wrong and we sincerely apologize." End quote. Does that sound like a sincere apology? How did you get it wrong? Who were the people that actually made this happen? Who wrote it up? Who put the menu forth? Who signed off on the menu? And who published it? Who signed off on the publishing of the menu? You see? You can't just put out a statement and say, "We got it wrong and we sincerely apologize." Because that's the joke. That's the punchline. That this false apology is the end of the joke. That's the punchline. Because they're still laughing while they made this apology. It's a false, empty apology. If you haven't fired anyone, if you hadn't publicly shamed anyone, if you hadn't come out and make them apologize for this, if you hadn't removed the people at the very top echelon that is responsible for allowing this to be published and having them come out and apologize to the black quote-unquote community themselves, a public apology on TV, if you haven't made them do this, then the apology is empty. It's empty as hell. It means nothing. IKEA reps told the Post of the problematic menu, which was hyped to staffers as featuring fried chicken, watermelon, mac and cheese, potato salad, collard greens, candied yams, to honor the perseverance of black Americans. I mean, this sounds like it's a joke. It's a joke. Collard greens, candy yams. You see what I'm saying? James Woodall, president of the NAACP's Georgia State Chapter, is not ready to accept the Scandinavian furniture chain's mea culpa for the tone-deaf meal plan just yet. Woodall told TMZ that IKEA's official response to the public outcry was merely, quote, "an empty, performative gesture." And that's exactly what it is. Point blank. He thinks IKEA owes answers to its constituents. Store employees and customers alike. "We got it wrong and we sincerely apologize," IKEA reps told the Post of the menu, which some criticized as a demeaning stab of stereotypical soul food, featuring fried chicken, mac and cheese, collard greens, potato salad, candy yams, and watermelon. Yo, like what do you mean you got it wrong? This is well thought out. I mean, you put all of this food in there. Who sat down and decided that these are the foods that black people like best and we should go ahead and put this menu together for them? This was not a run-of-the-mill, let's just slap something together and throw it out there for them. This was well planned and thought out. So that makes the apology that much more weak and impudent. Okay? Listen to this. You cannot say serving watermelon on Juneteenth is a soul food menu when you don't even know the history. They used to feed slaves watermelon, end quote, an anonymous employee told Atlanta's CBS 46. It caused a lot of people to be upset. People actually wanted to quit. People weren't coming back to work. But they did. That's the point. See, these people know that they still have power over you because you're still going to take it in, you know what, and you're still going to come back to work. And your boss, your Scandinavian bosses are still going to smile and laugh in your face. And your American bosses and overseers and overlords are still going to falsely, they're going to act as if They sympathize with you. And oh my God, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. And when they leave your face, they'll go and snicker and laugh with their friends and family. No one on the face of this earth can sit here and tell me that that's not true. I'm not buying it. I will not accept it, because we have seen this time and time again. Okay, so if there it is right there, New York Post. If y'all want to read it, y'all can look it up. Look at this. It's all over the place. Juneteenth, man, you okay? Look at this one. New York City George Floyd statue unveiled for Juneteenth, vandalized days later. But these people love you, right? These people really want to make it equality. They really want to make equality a thing. You see what I'm saying? They really want to make equality a thing. Let me show y'all something before we read this article. Look at this. This is all right, this is John 15. And I'm going to start at 14. But first, let me preface this by saying that at this point in time, when we are at the end of this cycle, when we are at the end and we are about to see our big brother Yahushua come back and rescue us, and I mean in a matter of a couple of years, this is how close we are to the end. Okay? We should already have an understanding. And look, let me just say, if you still believe the Christian way, then fine. So be it. I'm not here to argue with anyone. I'm not even here to convince anyone. I am talking to the elect of the house of Israel. I am talking to the scattered sheep who the Most High have seen fit to touch their spirit and wake them up to the truth. If you do not believe what I'm about to say in the Holy Spirit, then feel free to believe what you will. This is not for you. Okay? But at this point in time, we already know who our neighbor is. Your neighbor is your blood, your kindred, your brothers and sisters. That is your neighbor. My neighbor isn't the heathen nation. My neighbor isn't a heathen Gentile. That's not my neighbor. My neighbor is my blood. We share the same lineage, the same forefathers. We share the same pain. We share the same affliction by the same overlords and masters. That is my neighbor. My neighbor goes back to my forefathers, which is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And our fathers, who are the 12 tribes of Israel. Those are my neighbors, the descendants of Naphtali, the descendants of Gad, the descendants of Judah, the descendants of Asher, the descendants of Benjamin, the descendants of Reuben, so forth and so forth. Those are my neighbors. If you're not a descendant of those 12 fathers, then you are not my neighbor. And that is scriptural. Now let's read. John 15:14. Ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you. And this is in red, so we know who's talking. This is Yahushua talking. Henceforth, I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth. But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you. He's not talking to the whole world. He's talking to the house of Israel. He's talking to the house of Israel. Okay? We know this now. We're at the point in time where we don't have to rehash this thing from the very beginning. If you are my kindred and you don't believe this and you need it rehashed from the beginning, just do your due diligence. There are plenty of brothers out there that have proven this point and this fact for the past 5 or 6 years. Choose one. Verse 16. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, in Yahweh's name, he may give it to you. Now look at that again. We haven't chosen him, but he has chosen us, and he's ordained us. So what does that mean? If he chose the whole world, why wouldn't he just say, I chose all of you? I chose you all as mine. You see what I'm saying? But he didn't say that. He's making a definitive gesture and a point to say that he chose a people out of the group of human beings on the face of the earth. Verse 17. These things I command you, that ye love one another. He's talking to Israel. He's telling us, you better love your brother, Israel. If the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. Does this not show hate? Who are they hating? Are they hating the whole world? Or are they just hating us? New York City, George Floyd statue unveiled for Juneteenth, vandalized days later after it was unveiled. Verse 18. If the world hates you, who does the world hate? We know what the world hate. They just the whole country and the whole world, all the way over to Scandinavia and whatnot, made fun of the so-called African Americans, the black Americans, for fried chicken, watermelon, collard greens, candied yams, and all of that other garbage. And the whole world laughed behind closed doors and outright. Who else is getting made fun of like this? The Chinese man. Ain't nobody making fun of the Chinese man like this. Ain't nobody making fun of the Russian man or the Iranian, the Persian. No one's making fun of the Korean man like this. Right? No one's making fun of the Spaniard man this way. This doesn't happen to them. Verse 19. If you were of the world would love his own. See, we are choosing the way of our forefathers. So the world doesn't love us. And they see this. That's why their world is falling apart. It was prophesied that when we come back to the Father will hear our prayers and destroy our enemies. Do you not see the enemies of our people being destroyed? But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Do you see that? The world hates you. And this is proof. Let's look at the article real quick. The article. A New York City statue of George Floyd unveiled for Juneteenth was vandalized just days afterward, according to local law enforcement. The New York Police Department Task Force shared Thursday that they have opened an active investigation into the incident that happened in the Flatbush neighborhood in Brooklyn. On Thursday, June 24th, 2021, at approximately 0720 hours, in the vicinity of Nostrand Ave and Flatbush Ave, 70 precinct officers discovered graffiti on a George Floyd bust statue and pedestal. NYPD told The Hill in a statement. An unknown individual spray painted the statue's face black and covered the words on the pedestal with a black spray paint, in addition to the words patriotfront.us were spray painted in white on the pedestal. There are no arrests and the investigation is ongoing. We're talking about a place where cameras are all up on light posts. Police are always constantly walking around. You see what I'm saying? And they have no idea who did what. They hate you. They don't give a damn. Look at this. The HCTF is investigating vandalism discovered this morning to the new George Floyd statue that was unveiled at 1545 Flatbush Ave. This is a joke. In a series of tweets, New York City Council member Farah N. Louise called the recent vandalism a hate crime, which it is, urging residents to communicate with the police on the matter. Councilmember Farah, number 1. Today, my office learned that the George Floyd sculpture at Flatbush Junction has been vandalized. This is a hate crime and totally unacceptable to the memory of Mr. Floyd and to the black community, as well as our efforts to achieve quote-unquote racial justice and equality in America. That's never going to happen. And this is proof that it's never going to happen. You see? We have been fighting this fight since Juneteenth. We've been fighting this fight. You can't convince people who hate you to love you. You can't do it. It's not even possible. You see what I'm saying? Because your enemy is always going to be your enemy. Even if you come to a peace deal, a peace treaty with your enemy, they're still going to be your enemy. Look, she's asking anyone with information to come forward. Not happening. It's not happening. The statue, a bust of Floyd erected in honor of his memory. And his memory of what? His memory of being murdered? Live? On camera? In front of hundreds of people? They act like this, like he just died just by accident or something. See, these people don't love you. This isn't honor. This is dishonor. The statue, a bust of Floyd erected in honor of his memory, was unveiled Saturday as part of the Juneteenth holiday festivities. Floyd's brother, Terrence Floyd, was in attendance during the unveiling, according that doesn't even matter. It's a major statement for a major person, Floyd told WRC at the time. To see Brooklyn represent him and honor him in a national holiday, it's all love. No, it's not. You see, you let these people kill you, massacre you in the most brutal and the most barbaric ways, and then you accept some silly ass token as an apology and a pacifier. That is what's unacceptable. Because I guarantee you, if a black person had killed a white man in that fashion, a bust of that man's memory is not going to be enough. No, it's not going to be enough. They're going to want to see you hanged, everybody that was there hanged. They're going to want to see your family hanged, your houses taken away from you, your land taken away from you. They're going to see your reputation destroyed. They're going to do everything that they can in their power to make sure you and everyone you love that had anything to do with killing a white person is drawn out and taken out in the most brutal way. And then they're gonna make sure you remember it every year by playing it on the news. And then they're gonna run right behind you and tell everyone in the world how barbaric and how justified the police department is in treating black folks like animals. You see what I'm saying? And you're satisfied with a statue, a quarter of a statue being erected. Come on, people. Y'all got to get it together. Y'all can read that article. That's the title right there. Fair use. This is from The Hill. I'm not getting paid off any of this. If you want to read the article for yourself, pause it, screenshot it, and open it in your view. Okay? It's that IKEA thing again. Look at this. What is this about? A week later, Yakima County commissioners read Juneteenth proclamation. You can't even make this up, man. Listen to this. All right? This was updated 2 hours ago. 3 days after Juneteenth was celebrated, the Yakima County commissioners on Tuesday read a Juneteenth proclamation that they had neglected to read in advance of the holiday. Isn't this how Juneteenth came about? They neglected to tell people that they were actually free. Now here, they're neglecting to do the same thing again. You see, this is like a running joke that my people just don't get. You have no idea that they're playing a joke on you, and all of their nation is in on the joke. And you don't even know that it's about you. Oh, my bad. We forgot to tell y'all there's a Juneteenth proclamation. Well, in 157 years ago, it was the same situation. We forgot to tell you that y'all was free. My bad. My bad. We just held y'all all of this time after we found out that y'all was free, and we just figured y'all wouldn't even know. You know what I'm saying? So we just kept things going as normal. You know? Wow. The proclamation retroactively made the week of June 14th to the 20th Juneteenth Freedom Week throughout Yakima County. It was the same proclamation the Board of County Commissioners read last year and in 2019, with only the dates changed. It was submitted by the Yakima County NAACP again this year, but was not read at last week's commission meeting. You see? These people don't love you. They will never love you. Look at this. Hold on. All right. Look at this. Malachi 1. Let's start at 1. The burden of the word of the Lord of Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. To who? To Israel. Remember that. Because that statement is all throughout this book. If he was talking to the whole world, he would have said that. If he was talking to all nations, it would have said that. If he was talking to Israel and the Gentile nations, it would have said that. But it didn't. It said to Israel. To Israel. To Israel. To the whole world? No. To Israel. To the heathen nations of Russia, China, to Persia, Italy, France, the European nations? No. To Israel. You talking about to the Israel over there, the 1948ers? No. Those are Israelis. And they didn't exist until 1948. And this was written right before that. So it ain't talking to them. To Israel. Look at verse 2. It says, I have loved you. Who? Israel. I loved you, Israel, saith the Lord. Yet you say, where have you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? The Lord says. Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and I laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. He said, the Lord said, when we say, man, the Lord don't love us, look at this mess he got us in. Look at this. He don't come to save us. He don't stop these people from killing us. He don't stop anything. How can you say the Lord loves us? Well, the Lord says, I have loved you, and I hated Esau, your brother, and I laid his mountains. His mountains are like his places of power, and his heritage. You know what a person's heritage is, right? So he laid his mountains and everything that he was going to inherit from his forefathers, he laid it waste for the dragons of the wilderness. All right? So the Most High said he loved you. And he knows that your enemies are not going to love you. You see that? So they constantly do wickedness against you, and they constantly, what? They constantly put themselves, they constantly do wickedness against you, and they constantly put themselves above you, and they constantly make you look like the fool. Because they hate you. Why? Because the Lord said he loves you and he hates them. So, in essence, they're going to hate you. Doesn't it make sense? All right. Let's get back to this article real quick because I didn't want to make this long. Let's read it. This is in light of the unfortunate, I guess I'd say, miscommunication regarding the Juneteenth proclamation last week, Commissioner LaDawn Lind said prior to reading the proclamation. You see that? What a disingenuous false apology. Listen to this. I can say for myself that I never saw the proclamation, and as a board, we never had a chance to discuss the proclamation. We understand that we can't go back and change the past, but I would like to take the opportunity right now to read that proclamation. What a joke. Because what you're doing is you're repeating history. You're making mockery of the fact that the reason Juneteenth exists is because no one told the slaves they were free to begin with. And now you're doing it again. Oh, well, we didn't see it, so we had no way to discuss it because we just didn't see it. So we can't be held responsible for it. You see? Now I have to explain this to my people and let you know that it's a lie. It's a lie. It's a flat out lie. That's all these people do is lie. And they're lying to you again. Next paragraph. Its omission last week, combined with the reading of a proclamation conflating racial segregation with restrictions on those unvaccinated against COVID-19, drew rebukes from local NAACP President Risha Cosby and members of the Yakima County Council. Cosby did not return messages seeking requests for comment on this story Wednesday afternoon. 65, look at this. Second paragraph below the blue box. Juneteenth commemorates June 19th, 1865, when Union soldiers brought the news of freedom to enslaved black people in Galveston, Texas, 2 months after the Confederacy had surrendered. It was about 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation freed slaves in southern states. It became a federal holiday this year, 2021. Let me read that information to y'all again, who don't know. This is telling you that Juneteenth, the new national holiday that was made a holiday this year, 2021, it says that it commemorates June 19th, 1865, 157 years ago, when Union soldiers brought the news of freedom to enslaved black people in Galveston, Texas. So those people that were enslaved in Galveston, Texas, those enslavers tried to keep this information from y'all. 2 months after the Confederacy had surrendered. So the Confederacy had surrendered and given up, but they were not going to give up their quote-unquote property. Now, how long was this? It was about 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation freed slaves in southern states. You see that? And what does this next paragraph say? At Tuesday's meeting, Lynn assured viewers and his fellow commissioners are not racist. Well, the point here is that 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, quote-unquote freeing slaves from southern states, they turned around and did the same thing again. Now, you're going to tell me this wasn't a joke? Right? They're doing the same thing they did 157 years ago. Oh, we just forgot to tell you. Pfft, what a joke. What a joke. New York Times. What does it mean to be crowned? What does it mean to be crowned Miss Juneteenth? What does it mean to be crowned Miss Juneteenth? Miss Juneteenth. What is that word? Canada? Listen, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not even going to screw it up. Ms. Wallace, the 2019 Miss Juneteenth for Austin, Texas, earlier this month. You never know, this is a quote from her, you never know when you're going to have to put your crown on and be the queen of the moment, she said. It gives you all the light, and you have to be prepared for that. What does it mean to be crowned Miss Juneteenth? For contestants, it's a pageant, yes, but also a place to celebrate black sisterhood and promote a deeper understanding of a complex history. In the month of June, as celebrations to commemorate the Juneteenth holiday begin, dozens of black girls and women across the country will be competing for a singular title, Miss Juneteenth. Miss Juneteenth pageants have been held locally for decades, but they have been growing in visibility as awareness of the holiday has increased. The first National Miss Juneteenth pageant was held in 2020 in Memphis, with Sonia Gray, a previous Miss Juneteenth winner in Delaware, claiming the title. Juneteenth, or Freedom Day, is rooted in emancipation of the slave, so it involves both the celebration of joy and the commemoration of pain. June 19th marks the anniversary of the day in 1865 when the news of Emancipation Proclamation reached Galveston, Texas, nearly 2 years after the proclamation had been issued. African Americans beginning in Texas have celebrated the holiday since 1866. I want to know what it means, though. Yo, listen, man. All of this is a joke, man. You know what? Listen, if y'all want to read the article, we'll just say right here. Let's read this real quick. 16. Ms. Wallace, 16, won 2019 Miss Juneteenth pageant for Austin, Texas. Because of the pandemic, she's held her crown and title for an additional year. A responsibility, she said, she's carried with pride. That pride to get you in a troublesome place, especially during the protests and conversations about police brutality toward African Americans that took place in the summer of 2020. Yeah, that was a year of bloodshed for our people. And everyone just talks about it as if it was just some whim. No. The year of 2020 was a year where the police had free reign to shed the blood of so-called African Americans in the street without anyone staying their hands. It's like they got some call from their upper echelon of power, and that call said, okay, feel free to go out there and massacre any black person you run across, and we're not going to stop you. Why do you think that happened in 2020? Think about it, y'all. 2020, the summer of 2020 marked the beginning of the trouble of our enemies. It's a reminder that I'm proudly black. And I'm happy about it, and I'm strong, she said. A reminder that black is beautiful, to be ourselves with the hate or without the hate that we experience. A reminder that we're free. We're here with a purpose. Now, the sister is young, and the sister doesn't even know the truth. If she did, she wouldn't speak like this. It's a reminder that I'm proudly black. Number one, you're not black. If you would have said, it's a reminder that I am a Hebrew, and I am proud in the fact that I belong to the Most High. That should have been the statement. And I'm happy about it, and I'm strong. A reminder that black is beautiful. Well, the term black doesn't apply to you. Black is actually an ugly thing. That's why they gave it to us. You can't make something ugly beautiful. Can you turn poop into diamonds? Can you turn dog crap into something that is useful and beneficial to you, or that you can adorn yourself with? So they gave you a name that means all the horrible things, and you think because you can call it beautiful that it makes it beautiful. That's a fallacy. It's a untrue, illogical line of thought. Okay? So that's what it means to be Miss Juneteenth. Look at this. Okay, so check it out. She said a reminder right here, a reminder that we are free. Excuse me. A reminder that we're free. Check this out. Heaven knows we are not free yet. You see that? Now, those are words of wisdom. Opal Lee, 94, is an activist and former teacher who grew up in Marshall and Fort Worth, Texas. She was 40 years old. She has for 40 years been campaigning for Juneteenth to become an official national holiday. So for 40 years, she had been on a campaign to make Juneteenth a national holiday. And they didn't give it to her for 40 years. So what's the explanation that they would give it to you now? Has anyone asked? What's the explanation on why they denied this woman for 40 years? Let's see if they give it. In 2016, at the age of 89, she walked from her home in Fort Worth to Washington, D.C. Whoa. To raise awareness of Juneteenth. She says she believes that to fully celebrate the history of the United States and the concept of freedom, the country should hold a national celebration from June 19th through July 4th. So, they ain't going to do it like that. I want people to realize this is not a Texas thing and it's not a black thing, because none of us are free until all are free. And heaven knows we are not free yet, she said. Hey, you can wrap the article up right there, because we ain't free. Never will be under this regime. All right, there's the title right there, New York Times. Okay, you can read the article if you want. All right, you can see it for yourself. Okay, check this out. So yeah, we're still suffering. We're going to continue to suffer. Okay, this is 1 Peter 4. Let's start at the top. For as much then as Christ hath suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. That's important. You have to prepare yourself in the mind, in the head, for what's to come. For he that hath suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin. It's true. When you keep messing up, you keep disobeying your father, and your father go and get that belt because he tired of talking, and he put it to your hind parts. When he spank you, you will stop doing whatever it is that you were doing that caused that ass whipping. That's a guarantee. Unless you just got that hard head, and then he got to put more power in that leash. All right, verse 2. That he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of God. So basically, what this is saying is that we shouldn't be doing the things that we think that is okay of the world. Okay, we got to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, and that is what we should be telling our people. We need to come back to doing the things that the Most High wants us to do, and not out here celebrating these worldly holidays, because it's all a trap. For the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles. See that? For the time past of our life may suffice us, or may it be acceptable to us to have accepted or brought on or carried out the will of the Gentiles when we walked in lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries. That's all the things that we do today. You see what I'm saying? But the truth of the matter is that everything that we learn to do in this world, in this particular society, has been contrary to what the Most High has taught us to do. Verse 4. Wherein they think it strange that ye run not with them to the same excess of riot, speaking evil of you. So if you don't do the same things that they do, if you don't hurry up and run and celebrate Juneteenth, if you don't hurry up and run and buy those, spend $2,000-$3,000 on Christmas gifts to put under that false god that you bend down and worship every time you put a present down there or go down there and pick it up, that's exactly what you're doing. You're bowing down to a false god. If you don't hurry up and get them Easter eggs for your children and get that Easter candy and whatnot and celebrate Ishtar, the goddess of the hunt and the goddess of fertility. If you don't celebrate these things as the heathens do, if you don't, what is it saying for? If you don't do the same excess of riot, they will speak evil of you. They will say, "Oh, look at him. He think he too good. She thinks she too good. Oh, what? Oh, so what, you a Hebrew Israelite now? Don't you know that's a cult? Oh, what, you reading your Bible? What? You some kind of Bible thumper now? Oh, you celebrate the Sabbath? What is that all about? You a square." You see what I'm saying? You get all of this. They're speaking evil of you. Verse 5. Who shall give account to him that is ready to judge the quick and the dead? For this cause was the gospel preached also to them that are dead, that they might be judged according to men in the flesh, but live according to God in the spirit. So what we're trying to do is tell you right now, hey, don't celebrate Juneteenth. Don't even get yourself fooled by this. Okay? Because what's going to end up happening is that you're going to find yourself celebrating another day that the enemy gave you just to mock, make fun of you, and have you serve them. It has nothing to do with the Most High. If it did, they would have been, if it was a benefit to them, they would have been gave it to you. But for some reason, they're giving it to you now. Why? Because they want to lull you back to sleep. Because you have started to wake up to the truth of who you are. They can't get y'all back in these schools fast enough to try to reprogram you to their program. You see, all of this information on TikTok, all of this information on all of these social media sites, Facebook and Instagram, people are starting to learn the true history of the Caucasian man, of El Rojo. People are starting to learn the true history of their own forefathers. And they're starting to learn that it is not as pretty as they try to make it seem. It is steeped in bloodshed, in ugliness, in murder, in rape, and the decimation of the very people that they're trying to celebrate right now. They don't want you to talk about their history. So they're giving you something to pacify you. This is their ace up the sleeve. They got a couple more aces to play, but this is the big distraction right here. Let's give them George Floyd, a statue and a holiday commemorating George Floyd, although we murdered him. Let's give them Juneteenth as a holiday to get their mind, get them discombobulated. We know they got a short attention span. So let's throw this on the plate too, right? That's their queen of spade and their ace of spade right there. Now, you're going to be thrown off. You're going to be celebrating Juneteenth for the next couple of months. And guess what? You're going to be all the way in September when those feast days roll around, the Feast of Trumpets, and you're going to miss out. Because you're going to be running to do the excess of riot, running to do the things that the Gentiles do. What is that scripture? As soon as the seed is planted and given to you, right away the devil comes and takes it away. That's what this is. All of that time that you've been on lockdown and you've been learning the truth of the history of the wicked people that have enslaved us, now all of a sudden they're going to throw this in your face to distract you, to get you away from wanting to learn more, wanting to read your scriptures more, and wanting to learn the history of your people, because it's hidden in the scriptures that they called religion. But this is your heritage. It belongs to you. So that's a distraction for you. Verse 7, but the end of all things is at hand. Do you realize that this is why they're distracting you with Juneteenth? Because the end of all things is at hand. But be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. So that's what you should be doing right now. Ignore this Juneteenth thing. Get back in the book. Get back to praying. Get back to praying and asking God to reveal more information to you about the truth and what you should be doing. Get back to doing the commandments and not doing the things that the Gentiles do, that these heathens do. Whatever they give you, listen, anything that they give you is poison to you. Anything. I don't care what kind of bow tie they wrap on and how many diamonds they sprinkle out on the round side of the plate, outside the plate with that steak sitting on top, nice and juicy, well done like you like it, topped off with the basil, with some kind of nice red saucy gravy, and they just sprinkle little diamonds on the edge of the plate. And they're like, look at this. This is a distraction. It's poison. No matter how beautiful and tasty and enticing it looks, it is bad for you. Verse 8, and above all things, have fervent charity among yourselves. You see that? Among yourselves. For charity shall cover the multitude of sins. Start being nice to your brothers, man. Start being nice to the people that look like you. For the people that come from the same bloodline as you. Stop hating on each other, sisters. Don't look at your sister and get jealous for what she has, for the man she has, for the attention that she gets, whatever it is. Love your sisters. Love your brothers. Love your fathers and your mothers. Help them. Where have the days gone by where we actually stopped and allowed our elderly to walk through a door before we do? I see this every day. And we don't even have to open the doors these days because the doors open up for themselves. But for some reason, these young kids, they just walk right through when an old person is right behind them. And they don't just step to the side and allow them to walk through first. They don't push the elevator button for them and allow them to walk onto the elevator first. They don't take time to ask them, is everything okay? How are they doing today? No one does these things anymore. Verse 8. And above all things, have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins. That's a good way to get your ass out of hot water. Just be charitable. Give of yourself. Give of the knowledge that you have. It don't necessarily mean you got to dig into your pockets and give somebody money. That's the easiest thing that you can do. One of the hardest things you can do is give them your time. Because we have come to the understanding that time is the most precious thing that we have. No, it's not. Verse 9, use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man hath received a gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold of grace of God. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which God giveth, that God in all things may be glorified through Yahushua HaMashiach, through our Savior, our big brother, to whom be praise and domain forever and ever. Amen. Beloved, this is Peter talking to our people. He's calling you, beloved. Think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you as though some strange thing happened to you. You see that? These things that happened to George Floyd, these things that happened in 2020 and 2021 with the massacre of our people at the hands of the police force all across the country. Our people disappearing down there in Mexico at the hands of the descendants of the Spaniard men. Our people all over the world that disappear at the hands of the Gentile nations. Don't think this is a strange thing, because this is a fiery trial that we have to go through. All right? But rejoice, inasmuch as you are partakers of Christ's suffering, that when his glory shall be revealed, you may be glad also with the exceeding joy. Why? Because you're also going to be glorified. You just have to be patient. I know it's hard for some people to believe this, but look, you see yourself getting beat down and robbed and raped and murdered every day. What? And this is telling you that's exactly what you're going through. You're going through a fiery trial. So why not believe that you're going to be lifted up when our Messiah comes back? That's too hard for you to believe. But you say you believe the scriptures. Well, if you believe the scriptures, why not believe the so-called far-fetched things? Because these people have made you believe that it's not going to happen when it's literally right around the corner. All right? Don't think it's strange, okay? Don't think it's strange for the things that we're going through. Don't think that it's strange when they make fun of us with watermelon and chicken and all of this crazy shit. Don't think that stuff is strange, because it's not. It's what they've always done. All right? It's what they've always done. They're still beating up our brothers. They're still beating up our sisters. And then they still are pacifying us with things like Juneteenth. You see? Juneteenth for Maisie. Juneteenth Jamboree. This is all pacification. Juneteenth, worldwide celebration. Now, why would it be worldwide? If this is for African Americans, why would it be worldwide? How are African Americans spread worldwide? You see that? That's because the only people that were spread worldwide amongst every nation are the children of Israel. And they know this. That's why it's a worldwide celebration. Why would we be celebrating this worldwide if this event is exclusively to the so-called black people in America, that the American soldiers didn't tell the American slaves that they were freed? No one else celebrates the 4th of July. It is not their holiday. That holiday is exclusive to North America. So why is this a worldwide celebration? Because they're telling you that your people are spread worldwide, and that the other nations enslaved you, and that you are a child of God, which He spread throughout all the four corners of the earth. It doesn't make sense for Juneteenth to be celebrated worldwide. Does the whole world celebrate Martin Luther King Day? Does the whole world celebrate Black History Month? Does the whole world celebrate what other holiday exclusive to America? Does the whole world celebrate Labor Day? No, because those are holidays exclusive to America. But this one, Juneteenth, is going to be celebrated worldwide, because you are the true children of God. You are the Hebrews of the Most High. You descend from the loins of Jacob, and you are the children of Israel. It's right in your face. I don't know what else to tell you. Oh, here it is. Let's see what this is right here, because they look like they're having a grand old time right here. Let's see what this is about. All right, the U.S. House passed a bill to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. I can't see the numbers. 220 Democrats, 195 Republicans said yes. 14 Republicans said no. 14 was like, hell no, I don't agree with this. Those are the 14 oldest bastards waiting to die off.
On this vote, the yeas are 415 and the nays are 14. The bill is passed.
Juneteenth marks both the long, hard night of slavery and subjugation and a promise of a brighter morning to come. This is a day of profound, in my view, profound weight and profound power. A day in which we remember the moral stain, the terrible toll that slavery took on the country and continues to take. What I've long called America's original sin. At the same time, I also remember the extraordinary capacity to heal and to hope and to emerge from the most painful moments in a bitter, bitter version of ourselves, to make a better version of ourselves. And today we consecrate Juneteenth for what it ought to be, what it must be, a national holiday. As the Vice President noted, a holiday that will join the others of our national celebrations, our independence, our laborers who built this nation, our servicemen and women who served and died in its defense. In the first new national holiday since the creation of Martin Luther King holiday nearly 4 decades ago.
Alrighty, there you go. There you go, people. So, with that said, I'm gonna close out. I don't even know how long this video was, but it went longer than I wanted it to. But that's how it is, okay? We don't do this for ourselves. We do this under the guidance and the urge of the Holy Spirit. So, if it has gone longer than I intended, or that is comfortable for you, please forgive me. But the information has been given. The sheep have been fed. And I hope that this was edifying to the flock. All praises to the Most High.